Hello friends, in this video we shall learn about Treaty of 1832. Okay. So what happened in 1832? William Bentinck was in the charge of India. He wanted the British people to use the Indus River for trading. But Indus River was in place of Sindh. Okay. And the ruler, that means Amir of the Sindh, did not trust the British. So that only William Bentinck sent British officers named Colonel Potinagar to Sindh. Now, Colonel talked to Amir, that is the ruler of the Sindh, and made a deal. This deal is termed as Treaty of 1832. Under this deal, British merchants could use the Indus River to carry goods and trade, and there should not be any warship or weapon. So they cannot bring warship weapon with them on the river. This was in the deal. Also, they could not stay in the Sindh. They can only visit for the trades, but they cannot stay in Sindh. And passport was required. Anyone who is coming to Sindh needed a passport. The Sindh ruler could change the tax rates for goods. Okay. And Sindh ruler agreed to help the king of Jodhpur to catch robbers. Both sides promised not to fight or feel jealous for each other. Now, Lord Auckland and the treaty. Later in 1836, another British leader, Lord Auckland, came to India, and he also liked the idea of using the Indus River for trade. But he wanted more power in other areas like Afghanistan and Central Asia. His ideas later led to a big fight, which is called as First Anglo-Afghan War. Okay? And as a result, after this treaty, British goods like clothes, spices started traveling on the Indus River. Now let us see what is written over here. In 1832, William Bentinck sent Colonel Potinagar to Sindh to sign the treaties with Amir, that is the ruler of the Sindh. The provision of the treaties were as follows. English merchant and traveller would be allowed to use the Indus for trading purposes, but no warship would sail. Means no weapons are allowed with the Britishers, nor any material for war they can carry. No English traders settle in Sindh, and passport would be required for the traveller. Tariff rate could be altered by the Amir if found high, and no military dues or tolls would be demanded. The Amir will work together with the king of Jodhpur to crush the robber of the Kutch, and the parties would not be jealous of each other. So all these things we have discussed were under the Treaty of 1832. Okay. Okay, now understand who was Lord Auckland. The Lord Auckland was a very important British leader who became Governor General of India in 1836 after William Bentinck. He wanted to protect India from other countries, especially from Russia. Now, what was Lord Auckland worried about? And he was worried about the Russia might try to take over the parts of India. So he wanted to make sure that the places near India like Sindh and Afghanistan should be under the British control. Okay. Now what happened in Sindh that the Lord Auckland came into action? So there was a big problem in Sindh. A leader named Ranjit Singh captured the town called Rojhan, and this made Lord Auckland worried. So he decided to make a deal with the leader of the Sindh. This is how he made his plan. And what was the deal or the treaty about of 1838? So the treaty said that the British soldier could help the Sindh army, but in return the British wanted some things. Number one, they wanted to have their soldier to stay in the Sindh, which was not earlier agreed in the previous treaty. Now the British soldier could stay in the Sindh. They wanted to have control over the armies, money and expenses. So like this. And the British also wanted the right to move their soldier wherever they wanted. So this is how Sindh would come under British protection. Did the Sindh army agree to the treaty? This was the question, because they have denied. At first the Sindh army did not want to agree to the treaty. But later on they had to agree because they did not have much of a choice. They signed the Treaty of 1838. Now, there is a question that what did the treaty mean for the Indus River? The treaty made the Indus River a place where the British could control the things. Means the British now had a lot of power in the area and they could make decisions about the trade and other important things. Now British had become more stronger, and in 1838 Tripartite treaty was signed. Okay, and the British made another important agreement called the Tripartite Treaty. They asked Ranjit Singh to sign the Tripartite Treaty. Under this treaty, the British would help to solve the fight between Ranjit Singh and another army. The British also made sure that the king of the Sindh, who was Shah Shuja, gave up his control over the land. So he will give up his sovereignty over his land. Okay. And British made these treaties because they wanted to be ready for the big fight in Afghanistan, which is called as Anglo-Afghan War. They needed money and the land for the war. They also wanted to be sure that they could move their soldiers wherever they wanted to protect India from any danger. Now, why did British really did all this? Because they wanted to have control over the land near India, especially Sindh and Afghanistan. So India was in their main focus. So they wanted to have control over Sindh and Afghanistan, so that they wanted to be most powerful in the region and no other country like Russia could ever take over. Okay, they wanted to have their firm control over India. So they wanted to secure their position, and they were threatened from Russia. This was the thing. And what happened because of all these treaties? So because of all these treaties, the British become stronger in these areas. And the Indus River was now controlled by British. And they were able to make sure that India was safe from outside threat. So this is all about Lord Auckland. Now let us see what is written over here. Lord Auckland, who became Governor General in 1836, viewed Sindh from a point of protecting India from a possible Russian invasion, from Russian attack or Russian control. And his view was that he must first consolidate his position in Sindh, which was not, because they were not allowed to carry the weapon and keep their soldiers at Sindh. So as this was necessary for his plan on Afghanistan. They got an opportunity when Ranjit Singh captured Rojhan, a frontier town in Sindh and Amir, and were forced to make a treaty as per Amir were protected on the condition when company troops would be placed at capital on the Amir's expense, or alternatively by the British would make appropriate concessions in return. So they got an opportunity when Ranjit Singh would capture Rojhan. Now they would force the Amir or the ruler of the Sindh that British will protect Sindh only on a condition when the company's troop would be placed at the capital of the Sindh. Okay, and that too on Amir's, that is the ruler's expenses. Okay, or alternatively British would make appropriate concession in return. The Amir initially refused, but later reluctantly signed the Treaty of 1838. Okay, not willing to sign, but they had to sign unwillingly only. The treaty allowed the British to intervene in the dispute between the Amir and the Sikh and allowed British troops to make or to move wherever they liked. Thus, Sindh was converted into a British protectorate in 1838. Now the Tripartite Treaty of 1838. So under this, what has happened? We had already discussed, but let us see what's written over here. To address the Afghan problem, as the British envisioned it, the company first in June 1838 persuaded Ranjit Singh to sign a tripartite treaty agreeing to British mediation in his dispute with Amir. So then the Shah Shuja was forced to give up his sovereign right over the Sindh. Shah Shuja was the Amir of Sindh and he was forced to give up his sovereignty right over the Sindh. This was under the Tripartite Treaty that was signed between the Ranjit Singh, Shah Shuja and Lord Auckland. The main objective of the British by this treaty was to obtain finance for Afghan campaign and to obtain so much of the territory of Amir so that operation against Afghan through Sindh could be secured. So this was all under the Tripartite Treaty of 1838. So we have understood that what was the Tripartite Treaty was. The Tripartite Treaty was an agreement made in 1838 between three parties. The British East India Company, Ranjit Singh, the ruler of the Punjab, Shah Shuja, the former king of the Afghanistan. So these three groups decided to work together to bring Shah Shuja back to the throne of Afghanistan. And why the British wanted this treaty? The British were worried that the Russia might attack India by using Afghanistan. They thought if Shah Shuja, who was friendly with the Britishers, became the king of Afghanistan once again, it would help them to keep India safe and out of Russian reach. And the treaty had several points. Shah Shuja would become the king of Afghanistan. The British and the Ranjit Singh agreed to help Shah Shuja in order to become the ruler of Afghanistan again. Protection for Shah Shuja. The British promised to protect Shah Shuja and help him to stay in power. No crossing territories. Ranjit Singh army and Shah Shuja army promised not to enter in each other's land, and they both had to support for British soldiers. Ranjit Singh allowed British troops to pass through Punjab on their way to Afghanistan. And what did each side get from the treaty? The British, what did the British get? What did the Ranjit Singh get out of this treaty? And what did the Shah Shuja get? So British, they got a friendly king in Afghanistan and control over the trade route. Okay. Then the Ranjit Singh got promised that the British would not interfere in his kingdom. Only the British troops are allowed to pass through the Punjab to reach Sindh and to reach Afghanistan. And Shah Shuja, he got the support from the British to regain his throne. So this is how the treaty was. And what happened after the treaty? After signing the treaty, the Tripartite Treaty, the British sent an army to Afghanistan to help Shah Shuja. This led to the first Anglo-Afghan War. Okay, which were started from 1839 to 1842. While Shah Shuja became the king, for a short time the war caused a lot of trouble and things did not go as the plan for the British. The Tripartite Treaty showed how British were trying to control important places near India to protect their empire. It also shows that they made a deal with the ruler like Ranjit Singh and Shah Shuja to achieve their goal. So this is all in this video. In the next video we shall discuss about the Sindh acceptance of subsidiary alliance in 1839. Till then, keep studying.